समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Where there is peace, there is happiness. When the mind is full of worries, anxieties, despair, frustrations, ego, sense of possession, selfishness, that mind remains constantly agitated. And even if we do not have any negativity in the mind, still our anxieties for our sustenance, etc., remain constantly in our mind. And as we have heard from Sri Krishna, that what we think, we become. What we are thinking, our mind takes up that form. Think small and you are small. Think big, you are big. And you can do big things in life. Sri Krishna has been pointing out that claim your greatness. Claim your infinitude. Claim your freedom. Claim your happiness. And not worry about small things. Things which are going to happen in any case. If you look back in our life, from the time we were born, were we able to even look after ourselves? And yet, as we begin to grow and develop this ego that nothing can happen without me, and we put on ourselves so many burdens, we have to only play the role that we are in and do our duties accordingly, remaining, in fact, the whole Mother Nature, the whole universe is helping us. In fact, when with determination and single-pointedness we act, we serve, we perform and show our sincerity, in fact, the whole universe blesses us to make it happen. Therefore, Bhagwan, in the last loving statement, said that those whose minds are in me and who keep doing all their actions remembering me, they do not have to worry. In fact, this word in Sanskrit, chinta, and the word chitta. Chitta means fire. And chinta, worry, has got an anuswara, a nasal dragging sound. If the fire burns us once in our life, and that too also really speaking, after our life in death, worry burns us moment to moment. Freed from desire and anger to a great extent, our mind is calm. But we start worrying about unessentials. And when we start thinking about those things, our mind turns away from the glory, the greatness, the love, and the blessings of the Lord of the universe. Naturally, there will be anxiety and worries. I do not know if you have thought over, but I'm sure many of you have. But I can tell many incidents from my life that we also work, but nothing in our pockets. I travel around the world. Yet, I have never needed to buy anything, even in transit or at the airport. Even if I have been stranded there, without money in my pocket. Never have we had to go as such without what we need at that time. How it happens is just magic. And if we remember all these and do our actions courageously, bravely, then there is nothing to worry. But there are times people start thinking, I am undeserving. I have done so many wrong actions. I know I have to bear the consequences of my actions. How can I be blessed? How can I turn my mind? Or is there any hope in me? Such despair, when it comes also, it takes our mind away from the bountiness, the grace of the Lord. In fact, takes us away from the Lord, takes us away from that infinitude. And identifying with our negative actions, we develop in ourselves guilt, etc. In fact, most of the time we do not want to sit in quietude, in introspection, or even study or inquiry into ourselves, because the initial layers that we see of ourselves, we never generally begin to despair. Do I have hope? No? We begin to despair. But Bhagwan's loving instructions, and in the 9th chapter, which is the heart, which is the really heart of Krishna, and the heart of Krishna is love. The essence of Lord is love. The essence of the Guru is love. And love does not judge. Love does not condemn. Just as a mother, however wrong or faulty the child is, the mother only improves the child but accepts the child. If the mother has to correct the child from doing wrong and becoming harmful to himself or herself, will correct the child. But the mother does not even have to say, I forgive you for what you have done. The moment the child realizes his or her mistake and wants to come back to the love of the mother, to the guidance and the values that the mother has given, the mother, who is love, embraces the child immediately in her secure love. In the same way, Two beautiful verses in the 9th chapter that do not even sit and brood over what you have done, however sinful it may have been. If you are ready to correct yourself, knowing that what glory is available, then Bhagavan says, Api chetsu duracharah bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Bhagavan says, api chet sudurachara. Our thoughts, our attitude, our intentions make our actions. And when we do those actions with the wrong motive, those wrong actions rebound back to us in the form of agitations and sorrow. It is our own doing. And when we become introspective and admit to ourselves, as Sant Kabir says, Bura jo dekhan main chala, bura na milya koe, jo man khoja apna, mujhse bura na koe. We are afraid to be with ourselves because what we may discover about ourselves. We might be shameful of what we have done. And we find convenience in blaming others or even God for our sorrow. But when we are ready to take responsibility, we have to confront our own dark side. And Bhagavan says, Api chet sudurachara. Even if you have been the most wicked person and done the most sinful actions, but bhajate mam ananya bhag. When you have turned your mind to that which is divine, that which is love, that which is full of virtues, you have turned towards me, that all-loving God, and worships me with none else, with single-pointedness, where I alone become your support, I alone become your abode, I alone am your shelter, even if you are the most sinful. Bhagavan declares, Sadhureva samantavya. To all, that from that day onwards, consider that person to be a sadhu. Sadhu means a person who is good, a person who knows the truth. Sadhureva samantavya. From that day onwards, consider him to be transformed or her to be transformed. Why? Because transformation comes with a mere resolve. Because samyak vyavasito hi saha. When you have made a firm and right resolve to make that change, that transformation, to keep your mind on that which is all perfect, all good, then when you have made that firm resolve, from that day onwards, the transformation starts. And what we keep our mind on, that influences our mind, and our mind takes up that form. Puja Gurudev used to explain this in this manner logically. That's the greatness of that master, like how Shri Krishna has explained. But if we understand the very essence of love, which is acceptance, love where the mind becomes single-pointed and there is no sense of otherness. As Gurudev said, it is at-one-ment that we call as attunement. And love is identification with the beloved, where two become one. There's no you and me, it's us. That is love. And the lover of the universe, the Lord of the universe, declares, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Soon that person will become dharmatma. Dharmatma means dharma has two wonderful meanings. One which is your essence. One who recognizes the Atma, the self, as his essential nature, and that self which is infinite and therefore one with the Lord. At the same time, all values, all goodness, all sharing, all good actions emanate from this dharma. And all righteousness comes from this knowledge that we all are one. And in that love, when you see the joy and sorrow of anyone as your joy and sorrow, will you not, like yourself, want to be happy and bring about happiness in the world? And when any action is done with love in the heart, it has to be right. That is the essence of dharma. And such a person becomes a dharmatma. And such a person, shashvat shantim nigacchati. Such a person attains that eternal peace, which has got no end, no boundaries. And as we have said, ashantasya kuta sukham, as Krishna has said, that one who does not have peace, how can that person have happiness? And such a person peaceful and happy, and we worry, what if we fall from that peace and happiness? Even that worry we need not have. Will that transformation take place in us? Can a sinner like me be saved? Bhagavan says, and this he says, declare it from the mountaintops, broadcast it today itself on every channel possible, in every platform and message. And if you can do it, do it. And most of all, declare it to yourself, swear it to yourself. These are the powerful words of Krishna. He Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, na me bhakta pranashyati. My devotee shall never perish. One who loves the supreme lover, such a person has not to even fear his fall. Because he knows, tum rachak kahu ko darna. If you are there protecting me, what is there to fear? If like a monkey you have to hold on to the mother who jumps from branch to branch carrying her child, there is always fear of fall. But one whose mind is ever surrendered, without worry and anxiety, who does all his actions surrendering to the Lord, Bhagwan says that like the cat, when the mother holds the child has not to worry about anything. And that love, that devotion, where there is love and reverence, when there is that attitude of surrender, then Bhagwan says, know this as my promise, and you can declare it, that my devotee shall never perish. And I remember our Gurudev's words, where can you fall? From his shoulders, from the Father's shoulder to the lap of the Father. You are always in his care. Even when any difficult situations that you might think is difficult is there, know that at that moment, a mother takes even more care of the child who is sick, who is dependent on her. And therefore, keep your mind always on me, Bhagwan says. And where there is a constant flow of thoughts, there is meditation, and no meditation is possible without love, without devotion. And when love is for something mighty, higher, and that too also the infinite, the totality, then that love has got no limit, no boundary, and that mind becomes single-pointed in love. And it is only in love that mind surrenders all its anxieties, all its pretendence, its ego. And such a mind immersed in the Lord becomes one with the Lord. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Then what about my even responsibilities in this world? Why should I do anything? Even we are placed in this world because of our own past actions and desires. But all life situations that are there in front of us has a higher purpose. And if we can understand, and Krishna in the 10th and 11th chapter shows Arjuna that where is it that you cannot see me, the infinite, where you cannot see my glory and my beauty, my splendor and my might, that you have to lose faith. In fact, everywhere you can see. And faith is that which makes you hold on. Shraddhateti Shraddha. And at the same time, know that nothing is separate from me, not even you. For everything exists in me. And when Arjuna asked Krishna to show him, he saw the past, present, future, everything existing in that one. And sees that everything in this universe is functioning by the will of the totality, by the will of Ishvara. But then the question arises, why should I act? And in Arjuna's case, why should I fight this terrible war? What is the purpose then if everything is just happening? And Bhagavan says, end this ego from which arises all our bondage, sorrow, anxiety, and struggles, strives, and insistence on where things should be. Recognize in the totality this wonderful rhythm that is going on, and know that attain the glorious, attain your glory. And Bhagavan says, Tasmat tvamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samriddham mayyevaite nihita purvameva nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Addressing Arjuna as Savyasachin, or left-handed one. Arjuna had been given from birth such power, such talent, and over the years, the opportunity to develop his skills, that he had become an archer, the best archer, and that too also he could fight with both his arms. And having got that ability, that might, that power, Arjuna sat back saying that I do not want to face this battlefield. I do not want to face this challenge. I do not want to fight. Even though Bhagavan showed Arjuna the past, present, and future, and he saw the death of these mighty personalities that Arjuna was afraid to face. And at the same time, if everything is happening in the universe and the momentum has already started in the divine will, then why should I do anything? And Bhagavan says, understand that in the divine play, everything will happen with or without you. Don't have this ego. Therefore, tasmad uttishta. Yeah. Get up. Yasha labhasva. In fact, gain that glory. Glory which is gained through good action, punya karma. Jitva shatrun. Conquer your enemies. Not only the challenges outside that we face, or the obstacles that we face, or even people who obstruct us. For Arjuna, these mighty enemies in front of you. So enemy not only outside, but even the negativities within ourselves. And the biggest enemy is our own limited ego that thinks no end of himself and herself, and with selfishness wants everything only myself, 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 and does not know that the greatest happiness is available for us. And therefore, conquering these enemies who are harmful to you outside and inside, Bhungshva Rajyam Samriddham. In fact, not only enjoy that state of enlightenment and liberation, in fact, in this world, as long as you live, this entire kingdom is available for you, unrivaled. Enjoy it. We do not even know that this whole universe is for our happiness, because Purnamadaha Purnamidam. From that infinite bliss has come this infinite universe. It is for our bliss only. But because of our ego, our selfishness, we create sorrow for ourselves and others. Know that as such, who is devoted to the divine Maye vaite nihita purvameva. Not only these wicked enemies of yours, these mighty warriors, Arjuna, that are there in front of you right now, they, by me, the Lord, who is the karma phala data, who gives the results of action to everyone, according to their actions itself has determined their death. And therefore, by me, they are already been killed. They are dead already. So what are you fearing? Then why should I do anything? You just be an instrument. This ego we may not be able to give up directly, but when we recognize that things are just happening in the universe, and because of our ego we think either the world will not function without us, and we take upon ourselves all the worries and anxieties, or we selfishly sit back and say, I will not do anything, or why should I do anything? Bhagavan says, be an instrument, nimitta matra. You just be an instrument in the hand of the divine, in the hands of the totality, and work for the totality, because the totality has given you everything. Your strength, your power, your wisdom. Nimitta matra bhavasavya sachin. O capable Arjuna, just be an instrument in my hand. And when we understand that we are instrument in his hand, and in this divine play, things are going to happen with or without us, then why should we do it? Lord has given us everything. And therefore, when we allow ourselves to be his instrument, his equipment, by removing our ego, our selfishness, our individuality, and work for the totality, we become an instrument in his hand. And when he plays the flute, what comes out is only music. When he holds the bow in his hand and shoots the arrow, it has to reach its target. And the enemies are bound to be destroyed. And thus, destroy this mighty devil, this mighty ego, this 10-headed Ravana within you, who thinks, I am the doer and the world cannot be without me, and everything is only for my enjoyment, and suffers through life, destroying everything, rather than attaining the glory, attaining that happiness in midst of all the comforts that this ego has. All we have to do is become his instrument and let his will flow through us to the world around us. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
You are only to be nimitta matram bhava savyasati. All that you are being asked in the world is only to be an instrument, a nimitta matram, a governor, a representative, an ambassador of the Lord in the world. The ambassador himself can do nothing. All that can do is only under instructions of his country. If the newspaper people ask him, the ambassador, Indian ambassador, a question, if he doesn't know what is the opinion of the government of India, he will say that I am waiting for instructions from Delhi. He cannot say that I think so. You have no right to think. It's the government of India to decide. In the same way, thy will be done, not mine, not mine, not mine. Today you and I are living that I am the doer. I must plan, I must execute, I must gain, I must win. The actual fact is, these are all time-bound. And Arjuna, nimitta matram bhava. All that I want you is only to become an instrument. Everything I will do through you. Nimitta. And even if you are not there, I am to do. But why don't you come and stand there in front of it? It is I who did it. Is it? They camp, 1 month's camp. Who did it? Oh, Nalini did it. Nalini, be a nimitta matram bhavan. Be just an instrument. Why? Lord decided that there is a camp must be done. Each one of you is here. Not of your own will, but you cannot but come here. You have been brought here. I have been brought here. And it's going on. Let us all have no such egocentric vanity that I came and I gave lectures. Don't have it. It's all his game. We are only to play the game of plurality in the realm of time.